Hello guys and welcome. I hope that you're doing well. During this video I'm going to show you Need for Speed 2015 running in 12K resolution, pretty much 3 8K resolution monitors achieved through the Nvidia DSR method, Nvidia DSR technology, on a single 8K resolution native screen. During this video I'm going to show you all kind of different presets. I'm running it on a single Titan RTX video card equipped with 24 GB of GDDR6 VRAM, which stands for the video RAM, and the old school Xeon E5-2697 V2 CPU from 2013 with the 32 GB of the system RAM. So 32 GB of the system RAM, DDR3. This is not my gaming PC. This is my workstation from 2020. I purchased it in the beginning of 2020, just the CPU, and built it up using my parts from 2014. And this system is designed to developed by me to do the 8K resolution video re-encoding, transcoding, and 3ds Max rendering. So while I'm doing the 3D rendering, 3D animation, and 3D modeling in 3ds Max, while I'm utilizing all the 24 threads that is available on this CPU, and this CPU is equipped with 12 physical cores, and through the hyper-threading technology, 24 threads or 24 virtual cores. Okay, in the end of this video we're going to talk about my PC hardware specification plus during this video. So go ahead and grab yourself your favorite drink. The best drink will be a green organic tea plus the lemon. Half of the lemon, try to drink it like twice a day and you will be healthy. After 3 months it's going to clean you up. So let me real quick go ahead and show you the settings. Very important thing to understand that to be able to run Need for Speed 2015 that was available on PC in 2016 and on a console in 2015, you must to load this game in 4K resolution or 8K resolution, go exactly to the game, because if you're going to load up this game in 12K resolution like this, 12,960 pixels by 7,680 pixels, the game will crash in the game menu, and you gotta get into the game itself, load up the game server, and then switch the resolution. And also full screen is not possible for this resolution. It's pretty much doesn't want to switch up to 12K resolution like this. It's whatever resolution you loaded up is going to end up at full screen. So you gotta go and force it to window mode. So switch it window mode off. Okay, I'm going to start with the low preset, then I'm going to go to medium kinda, and then ultra preset. Okay, so pretty much I'm going to show you every single preset. So this video is not going to be short video. This video will be around 45-50 minutes, but this is the world's first Need for Speed 2015 running 12K resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all kind of information, and will provide all kind of different tips. Okay, hopefully this game is available in 16K resolution on the single Titan RTX. Keep in mind that this game supports SLI, and the purpose of this video is not the gameplay. The purpose of this video is benchmark, so we can compare the performance, the data in the right top corner, with the future PC systems, with the future CPU and future GPUs and video cards. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So this is the lowest possible preset. Okay, this is how we're going to go ahead and rock it. Let me real quick again demonstrate to you, and let's go ahead and keep moving, folks. In the end of this video I'm going to show you my information as again about my PC hardware, and I also going to show you same video Need for Speed in 12K resolution on my gaming rig from 2020 beginning 2021, which is the i9-9900K overclock at 5.3 GHz, 6 cores, 6 threads, with DDR4 at extreme frequencies with the very aggressive timings on it. So this is what's up. As you can see, look like server has some players. In this game you can play multiplayer at the same time you can play single player, which is nice. Alright guys, Alright, so let's go ahead and get going, guys. Okay, I just started and there was first bug. So what it was always like this, even with 4 Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture in SLI, Nvidia 4-way from 2016. I'm going to include that video in the video description. And I believe it's pretty much the garbage collector. It's offloaded some data because I loaded up this game in 4K resolution in game menu, and then I went into the game and switched it, because in the game menu somehow even in 8K resolution is crashing in the game menu. Keep that in mind. So the best way for you will be just to load the game in 4K resolution, and when you in a server like this, then switch it and go window mode and all the way put up your window on the whole desktop, and make sure just maximize your window and make sure that your desktop resolution set to the same 12K resolution as well as 100% scale. This is very important. You gotta do 100% scale as well. Alright guys, in the end of this video I'm going to show you exactly what I meant. It's running nice. It's even playable, but of course it's not playable with comfort, but I can play it a little bit like that. Maybe complete few missions, but it's not comfortable at all. This is the lowest possible settings, and alright, looks like there is a police officer behind us. Let's go ahead and try to last him real quick. The game is beautiful, guys. As again, when you're playing low presets, you can even crash at high speed. On 4 Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture in 8K resolution, I couldn't crash at high speed even at the lowest possible preset. But as you can see over here, I can crash it at lowest possible preset, and there is no lag at all. But we're going to have lag when I'm going to increase the visual preset. And I believe why it is, because it's overloading the VRAM, which stands for the video RAM, and on Titan RTX in 8K resolution it was almost overloading the VRAM even without the crash, and after the crash of course it was overloading VRAM badly, and during the crash somehow it's overloading VRAM big time. There is a debris in here and stuff, and little pieces, a little bit more higher resolution polygons count on the level when you're crashing, like some 3D objects flying around. Look at this, my GPU utilization 99%. This is at the right top corner. This is exactly how we want to keep it. And I'm using 12 physical cores. I disabled the hyper-threading technology because on this particular CPU, the hyper-threading technology is equal 3.5-3.7 times slower than a single physical core on this particular CPU. Keep that in mind. And this CPU, this enterprise CPU from 2013, is a server CPU with a lot of cores and a lot of threads, and this is a great CPU as workstation when every single core is utilized, all those 24 threads is utilized. This is the only way when you want to build the CPU as with this CPU a PC system in 2021 or 2022, when all 24 threads will be utilized. And this is exactly in 3ds Max. I'm utilizing all the 24 threads at 100%. Go ahead and check out my 3ds Max video tutorials when you're going to learn when I'm going to show you this CPU in 3ds Max, when I'm going to utilize under this line all the 24 threads completely at 100%. So I'm pretty much benefiting from this CPU while I'm rendering faster, and but in the games it's not so beneficial. But I decided to go ahead and show you how this workstation will be in the games as well, because I covered this workstation from A to Z over the UHDking.com YouTube channel, so go ahead and check it out. And it's running nice, and I disabled the hyper-threading technology in the BIOS, so I'm only using 12 physical cores, 12 physical threads, so I decided to disable the hyper-threading technology. So it's running as fast as possible for the lowest latency delay. Hopefully this makes sense. So 15 FPS. I'm also recording this game, guys, in 8K resolution with the Nvidia Shadowplay on the same computer. And how it's possible? Pretty much the Nvidia Shadowplay is hacked, and the width and height values were replaced during some software system RAM debugging tool during the runtime. You can do it, and it's recording nicely, guys, in 8K resolution. This is how I'm going to upload this video on YouTube in 8K resolution. So for the best possible experience, please watch this video in 8K resolution on YouTube. Just go ahead and switch in your YouTube player to 8K resolution, which is 4320p, and watch it like that. You're going to enjoy, especially on an 8K resolution monitor, how clear everything will be. As you can see, when I'm at the high speed, when I'm drifting, you can see the steering wheel, and this is a bug in this game when you're playing above 8K resolution. Check it out. But you gotta drive at high speed, and when you drift at high speed, you can see the steering wheel right there. See that? This is funny. Anyways, but the game looks amazingly well in as you can see, in 12K resolution. So this is not just a 12K resolution, as again this is 3 8K resolution monitors with so much details, and it's going to be pushed about 32 megapixels less than 16K resolution. So hopefully this game will be runnable, at least renderable, benchable on the Titan RTX or 2 Titan RTXs in SLI in 16K resolution. And if it will be, then I will be the first YouTuber that's going to show you Need for Speed 2015 in 16K resolution. But as again, this is the world's first 12K resolution on YouTube. And those 3 8K resolution monitors set in a vertical mode means that I'm using the width of 8K resolution 7680 pixels as my height, and those 3 heights of those 8K resolution monitors will be my width in my 12K resolution. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. Alright, so let me real quick go ahead and switch it now. I'm going to real quick go ahead and switch the preset. Look like we tested this preset completely, everything at minimum settings. By the way, this minimum settings in 12K resolution looks just like 4K resolution at ultra. This is amazing, and this is the lowest possible preset. The reason why, because we're pushing so much pixels, and at 4K resolution we're losing a lot of pixels. In a second I'm going to explain to you why. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go ahead and texture quality, I'm going to go ahead and do at maximum possible preset, which is the ultra, because completely makes sense. I tested the low preset for those folks that was asking me to do the test at lowest possible presets whatever I'm running the ultra high resolution. So go ahead and smash that like button if you one of them. Right now we're going to go ahead and increase the visuals. So as again, ultra preset texture quality, right now everything will be increased on another level. Let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, I'm going to speed up, and it's going to lag for a couple seconds because it's going to reload the VRAM and reload some data from the memory. You will see it in a second. I believe it's task for a garbage collector in this game, and it's doing that. That's why it's lagging a little bit, because a lot of data should be reset by the game engine. But right now it's on another level. Check at these details right now, everything at ultra. This is just unbelievable, guys. Let me real quick go ahead and use the zoom tool, magnifier tool by Windows, to show you what's up, the level of details. Check out the level of details. This is at 500% magnifier tool. So this is for folks that asking for the screenshots. Guys, there is no such a software that able to do the screenshots above 8K resolution. I believe 10K resolution is the maximum resolution that you can achieve. Fraps cannot do. There is no such a software. that can do it, unfortunately. And if you know the software that can go above 10K resolution, let me know and I will create some screenshot. Otherwise, maybe I'm going to develop a software that will be able to do that. Look at this level of details. This is 500%. Let me go ahead and zoom in, and as again, the level of the details of the 3D mesh right now set at low, means that we're not showing the highest polygons count design as maximum visuals for this 3D model, but I'm going to show it to you when everything will be maxed out as well. But look at this level of details, and in 4K resolution you're not gonna see details right there, the pixels right there. You're not gonna probably even see the texture right there at 4K resolution, like gradient of the texture. Wow, this is amazing. Look at that volumetric particles right there coming from those two cars crash, and we're still at 14 FPS. Let me real quick go ahead and show you some burnouts, and there is a possibility that, wow, there's a car accidents all over. Wow, look at that. Hopefully they're gonna clean up. Nope, they're not. Look at this. I never saw in this game something like that. This is impressive. AI just went crazy. They're like, oh dude, you playing for the first time 12K resolution? This is amazing. AI is also like, shh, was burned. Alright, let's go ahead and do the burnouts over here. I think we can do the burnouts over here. Check out, guys. Volumetric particles, this is very heavy. And 14 FPS, this is amazing performance. And this is with the ultra presets on the texture and everything else at low, but still amazing performance. I mean, look at this. Wow. Look at this level of details and reflection. I believe they're using a screen space reflection over here, but still, it's amazing. 12K resolution, guys, for this game. It's a great looking game, by the way. I really like the way the Need for Speed 2015 looks. It's much better than Need for Speed Shift to me. In Shift, they're using so much of the reflection in the car. It's so unrealistic. It's like a cartoonish reflection. Over here, reflection now not so overdone, it's just right there. And by the way, for those who didn't play this game, you can switch the cameras, which is nice. You can get your favorite position. There is a lot of people doing some movies in Need for Speed 2015 because the realism of the visuals, photorealistic visuals, and 12K resolution and above will be the best way for you to do it. Look how small my mouse cursor right there. Let me move it by the car. See that? Let me put it by the license plate right there. This is how small my mouse cursor. 12K resolution. Wow. This is just unbelievable, guys. So 16 FPS average, and just because I'm recording with Nvidia Shadowplay, it's taxing 4 FPS. So add 4 FPS. So it's supposed to be running like 19-20 FPS without the Shadowplay recording on the same computer in real time in 8K resolution. And this game supports SLI, and when your GPU utilization 99%, as you can see right now, my GPU utilization 99%, that means if game supports SLI, the performance boost will be 1.9 times versus the single Titan RTX that I'm running right now. And the same rule was applied for the Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture, Titan XPs, which is Pascal GPU architecture, and for the GTX 1080 Ti and SLI when I was testing, and for RTX 2080 Ti and SLI. But RTX 2080 Ti and SLI can handle this because the VRAM usage right now is almost 18,000 megabytes, as you can see, which is 18 gigabytes. Okay? The system RAM utilization below 12,000 megabytes, so pretty much I can state that we have the healthy VRAM utilization. As again, VRAM stands for the video RAM. on our video card. The total VRAM can go all the way to 24,600 megabytes, but when it's reaching 23,000 megabytes, which is 23 gigabytes, the Nvidia driver starts offloading some data, offloading some data from the VRAM into the system RAM. Keep that in mind. And when it's offloading a lot of data from the VRAM into the system RAM, your FPS drops by a lot. And a lot, I mean around above 4,000 megabytes, which is 4 gigabytes. And you're gonna see it when your system RAM immediately will improve by, you know, by a lot. When the load on the system RAM will improve by a great value, like 15,000 megabytes. It's going to jump from 11,600 megabytes to 15,000 megabytes. That means that we offloaded 3.5 gigabytes or 3,500 megabytes into the system RAM from the VRAM. So the Nvidia driver preventing to crash the game while doing that offload. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. Look how everything looks just amazing. Alright, so I'm about to switch the let me go ahead and do it. The preset. Okay. So let me go ahead and bring the geometry details, which will be the polygons count. Pretty much it's like a tessellation on our 3D models. And for Turing GPU architecture, TU102 GPU by Nvidia that is powering today the Titan RTX video card is going to be no problem. Turing GPU architecture can chew that geometry in this particular game like no problem without even the FPS drop. Okay, so there is no reason for you to run if you're running Turing GPU architecture such as Titan RTX or RTX 2080 Ti, but at lower resolution. There is no reason for you to run low preset versus the high. You're not gonna increase any FPS anyways. Keep that in mind. So you better crank it up all the way to ultra. Beautiful. Wow, the visuals are on another level, guys. I'm impressed, to be honest with you. Look at this. Still we have the issue with the steering wheel, but this issue will appear in this resolution, and I believe it's just because developers didn't envision to go above 8K resolution. So whatever you develop in game or software, you gotta think outside of the box all the time, guys. Okay, hopefully in 2021 I'm going to develop my own game, because I'm, you know, very experienced software developer and graphics designer and 3D artist. A lot of graphic designer tutorials such as Photoshop tutorials and 3D modeling, 3D rendering tutorials will be available over the UHDking.com or artisticbyte.com, so don't miss it out. It's going to be a great YouTube channel for you to subscribe. So if you're not my subscriber, go ahead and smash that like button for the support and subscribe, guys, so you're not gonna miss any great videos. As you can see, my content is unique. I'm not like one of those copycats. I'm trying to show you something unique and to be first at it, and something valuable to you as well. Beautiful. The game is amazing. I really like this game. This is one of my favorite Need for Speed on PCs when it comes to Need for Speed series. Great visuals. It's still playable, but it's not comfortable, so keep that in mind. So we already received some damage. The car is damaged already, as you can see. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch the preset. But before we're gonna do that, let me go ahead and real quick show you some burnouts over here. Alright. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Check it out, guys. 12 FPS, so we just lowered by about 2 FPS, but still amazing performance, because this is volumetric particles. Usually it was taxing on Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture 4-way SLI about 15% of the performance. But over here we're just taxing about utilizing or lost about 5-7% of the performance. Actually we lost 20% of the performance, and then the Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture 4-way SLI, it was utilizing actually 30% of the performance while I was doing the burnouts in real time. Alright guys, so I'll show you everything what you need to see. Let's go ahead and switch it up, and coming in real time, keep that in mind. And I'm playing without the sound, so I don't hear what's going on in the game, so it's kind of hard. And for the first time I'm playing with the controller. I purchased myself a gamepad, and I'm going to use it. It's a gamepad that's working on the iOS devices such as iPad, iPhone, Xbox, PC, and I decided to go ahead and test it out, and I didn't warm up, so that's why I'm not going to show you a great gameplay. But anyways, it's not about the gameplay. Let's go ahead and improve the effect details. So now it's probably going to tax a lot when I'm going to do the burnouts, but let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, taking some time. Here we go. Okay. Let me go ahead and speed up, and you're gonna see that we're gonna freeze up for about couple seconds in a second, because the garbage collector will offload some data and load the new data into the memory, or it's probably already did in menu, because that's why it was frozen for a couple seconds. Wow, check it out. The visuals improved also on another level right now with the effects. Alright, I just crashed. Look at this. I really like the level of the details and card deformation details. That's nice. Alright, let's go ahead and do the burnout right here. Like this, right? Okay, still 11, 12, 10, okay, taxing 9. So from 12 we went to 9, 3 FPS loss, but still beautiful. Really enjoying it. Very high latency delay in terms of the milliseconds. That milliseconds value by the FPS we want to keep as low as possible. So below 10 milliseconds the gameplay has amazing experience. Below 20 milliseconds it's very good gaming experience status. Below 30 milliseconds it's still playable, great gameplay, still game playable, and below 40 milliseconds it's kind of so-so status. It's still playable but so-so, and above 40 milliseconds it's not playable status. Keep that in mind. But we were like about 100 milliseconds, and that highest latency delay means that we are offloading some data into the system RAM, and you can see that system RAM went from below 12,000 megabytes to above 12,000 megabytes. So we're floating about maybe 500 megabytes, and the Nvidia driver decides when the offload starts, and it starts not after 24,000 megabytes, because Nvidia driver's AI doesn't know, you know, how much load we will receive next second, so it's predicting, and it's uploading. Upload starts above 22,000, to be honest with you, and right now we even started above 18,000 megabytes just in case. And because in the game you can see that while I'm switching the resolution, somehow it's like, okay, wow, there is more data loaded, wow, there is more data loaded, and it just doesn't understand what's going on. It doesn't know that we're switching the resolution, but it's just predicting and trying to make sure that the game is not going to crash. And when it's happening, pretty much our latency delay in terms of the milliseconds jump into a higher value. Hopefully guys this makes sense. Wow, I'm like, this is unbelievable. Let me speed up a little bit. Let me speed up and crash at high speed. Let's see if it's going to lag or not. Because it's going to bring a lot of problems with our VRAM. Probably going to offload a lot of data from the VRAM into the system RAM, because during the, oh look at that, that probably was a player or AI. As again, in this game you can play single player, at the same time you can race against the multiplayer on the same level, which is nice. I really like the GPU utilization, 99%, exactly how I want to have it. We're even going to go to 100% when I'm going to max it out. Alright, let's go ahead and speed it up over here. I'm gonna speed up over here on this straight, and I'm gonna crash. And we're gonna see if it's going to lag out or not. Yep, it is. Hopefully the game is not going to crash on us. Nope, it's not. It's not, because we still have enough VRAM to compensate, as you can see at the right top corner, but immediately we went from 19,000 megabytes to almost 22,000 megabytes. So this was the reason, guys, while 4 Titan RTX, while 4 Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture was lagging out like this badly, because the VRAM was not enough on those 4 Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture in SLI. And Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture in SLI only has 12 GB of VRAM, and as again, you gotta have each GPU under DirectX 11 should access its local VRAM. It cannot access the VRAM from a different video card. And what's the point to access the VRAM from a different video card? It's for those losers that's saying VRAM doesn't stack, VRAM doesn't stack. Why you want the VRAM to be able to stack? Each GPU is rendering some data, and it's going to store the data into the VRAM, its own local VRAM, into the frame buffer. Otherwise the GPU will have no ability to store the data. Okay, so I don't see what's the reason why you want your VRAM to stack. I even don't see the term such as VRAM stacks, but you know. So 12 GB per each Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture wasn't enough, and for each Titan X piece, which is Pascal GPU architecture, wasn't enough to run this game above 8K resolution, of course, and as well as RTX 2080 Ti or GTX 1080 Ti couldn't handle this game above 8K resolution, and GTX 1080 Ti even couldn't handle this game in 8K resolution. The maximum for GTX 1080 Ti and 2 of them in SLI was 5K resolution, and 8K resolution was crashing. And when I was running 4 Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture, 8K resolution also was crashing from time to time, especially when I was running maximum visuals, but it doesn't crash on the Titan RTX single video card. Keep that in mind. As again, when 2 Titan RTXs in SLI will bring us 1.9 times performance, and this is exactly how it's going to do it. I didn't test it yet, but based on my experience, it's going to do it in SLI. That means that over here we're going to be around 30 FPS, 32 FPS average, and it's going to be amazing. It's probably going to be a playable experience right now with this preset, which is going to be amazing. Okay. We're going to cut our latency delay in terms of milliseconds by 2 times. Okay, so above 22 gigabytes of VRAM utilization right now, or above 22,000 megabytes of VRAM utilization, and our system RAM went to 21,000 megabytes, from 12,000 megabytes to 21,000. That means that we already offloaded 10 gigabytes of the VRAM data into the system RAM. Wow, I never saw something like that before. I even didn't know that Nvidia driver can offload 10 gigabytes. I thought the limitation was like 4-5 gigabytes, and above that the game is crashing. But look like it's based on type of the game, what kind of game you're running. But this is a fact, guys, for you, that Nvidia driver is capable to offload above 10 gigabytes of VRAM from VRAM into the system RAM, and the game is still will be kind of playable, but with a high latency delay. Keep that in mind. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to go ahead and enable. We don't want to play with the shadow play quality, but in the end I'm going to max out as well. But shadow play quality, when you're playing 8K resolution and above, can be at low, because pretty much it's going to be soft. What it does, it makes hard shadows at low and soft shadows at ultra. But when you're playing 8K resolution and above, it's still going to be soft, because all those pixels going to create the soft shadows. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. But ambient occlusion is still taxing or utilizing a lot of GPU resources, and I'm going to show it to you in a second, and you will see it yourself. It's going to stress our Turing GPU architecture big time. So Turing GPU architecture still cannot handle the ambient occlusion without utilizing a lot of resources. Here we go, lagging out for a little bit. The garbage collector offloaded some data and loaded the new data, and you can see it's offloaded that 18,000 megabytes of the system RAM back into 13,000 megabytes. So this is why it lagged out a little bit. I can tell it as a software developer based on my experience playing with direct 3D surface. This is why exactly it was lagging out, and lagging out like for a couple seconds at the beginning, and that's it. It's not going to lagging out anymore, which is nice. Wow, 12 FPS. So Turing GPU architecture has no problem with anti-aliasing. The anti-aliasing pretty much for Turing GPU architecture, it's like couple FPS difference. But ambient occlusion can be all the way to from 15% to even 30%. Especially when you're running very high resolution. Keep that in mind, guys. Guys, hopefully you love my ultra high HD resolution videos and gameplays, so don't forget to smash that like button. A lot of time, money, energy was invested. You know, nobody sponsored me, paying from my own pocket, and you know, I'm not rich guy, so please support me, visit my sponsors, subscribe, share it with your friends, and yeah, more videos will come if you will motivate me with your like and support and subscriptions, and share, spread the word, guys, with your friends. If I will make above 100,000 subscribers, when it's going to be a full-time, I'm going to record crazy videos, guys, for you. As you can see, I'm all about innovations, and I'm very experienced, guys, when it comes to software development. As again, 3D art, graphics design, and the PC gaming, and I'm a PC hardware enthusiast and PC overclocker. So if PC enthusiasm is your hobby, I'm the guy who can share the best with you guys, because this is my hobby as well, and plus on top of it, I'm knowledgeable on kind of similar topics that not far away from that from PC hardware enthusiast topics. Okay, 11 FPS. I'm pretty sure if we're gonna do Burnout over here, and this is exactly what we're gonna do, we're probably going to go to 5 FPS or 7 FPS, but let's go ahead and have a look, shall we? Check it out. Automatic particles, 8 FPS, 7 FPS, yep, I was right. Wow, 9, 10. Wow, look at this. It never happened like this with Maxwell GPU architecture, Pascal GPU architecture, but look like Turing GPU architecture brought us back to 12 FPS. It started with 12 FPS without the burnouts, and then at the burnouts it went to 8 FPS, but then again went back to 12 FPS, and I believe the AI on the Turing GPU architecture, AI cores are somehow within the Nvidia driver studying what's going on in terms of the pixels and boosting up our FPS, which is amazing, by the way, because otherwise how could you explain I started with 8 FPS and then went at the same environment to 12 FPS? It means that AI probably studied what's going on, and it repeated those pixels faster and was treating them not like a new pixels, but like pixels that was already rendered before, so it was studying the pixels. I see it as a software developer. This is how I would do it. Beautiful, guys. The visuals are amazing. I mean, just amazing. Wow. Alright, let's go ahead and switch the resolution, shall we? Not the resolution, but preset. Because I'm also going to record on this system 8K resolution and 4K resolution, and I will try to record on this system because this is X79 chipset on this, while I'm running this Xeon E5-2697 V2. This is the gaming overclocking motherboard with X79 chipset, gigabyte X79 UD3 version 1.1 with F20 bias, and this motherboard has 4 PCI Express version 3.0, and I can run 2 Titan RTXs, each of them in 16 lanes on PCI Express 3.0, and it's nice to see how they're going to behave in this ultra high resolution. And then I'm going to bench it against my gaming system from 2020/2021, and with the i9-9900K overclock at 5.3 gigahertz. And it's nice to compare it and see, because the Z390 chipset on the i9-9900K can only support PCI Express 3.0 at 8 lanes when I'm running 2 video cards, and 8 lanes versus 16 lanes per each video card. It's nice to see on this X79 to see if it's going to benefit us anyhow or not, because nobody tested before like that. They all was testing 1080p or 4K resolution, which kind of doesn't make any sense to see the performance boost when you're comparing 8x lanes in PCI Express versus 16 lanes. And I think maybe at 12K resolution and above, we're going to see some difference in SLI between those two chipsets. So stick around for that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do anti-aliasing all the way. So pretty much this is maxed out, and then I'm going to do the shadows, which shadows probably not going to text anyway. This Turing GPU architecture is just going to chew it like nothing, but just to make sure that we're running maxed out. Okay, legged out a little bit. So what's going on is just offloading some data through the garbage collector. Okay. Okay, we're ready to go. 12 FPS, still 12 FPS, including the anti-aliasing. TAA, this is amazing. As I told you guys, Turing GPU architecture has no problem with the anti-aliasing. Maximum is going to text couple FPS. It's just nothing for Turing GPU architecture. And it was, as you can see, it's taking like 1 FPS. And it was nothing even on Pascal GPU architecture, but Turing GPU architecture has no problems with anti-aliasing methods like the PC hardware acceleration for anti-aliasing algorithms it just on this Turing GPU architecture video cards is nothing, and it's just chewing it like it's nothing. And Ampere GPU architecture will be also on another level. Cannot wait, guys, to test it on RTX 3090, but look like RTX 3090 doesn't support SLI. This is at least what people tells me all the time on YouTube. And this is, if this is the case, then 2 Titan RTXs and SLI is faster than a single RTX 3090. Okay, so if this is the case, then I'm having still having the fastest gaming setup right now, because nothing can beat up 2 Titan RTXs unless you're running Quadros RTXs like 6000 or 8000, but those type of video cards doesn't support SLI. So if RTX 3090 Ampere GPU architecture video cards doesn't support SLI, that means the 2 Titan RTXs video cards and SLI in 2-way SLI will be faster than single RTX 3090 by about maybe 20% when they kinda thermal throttling, and by about 30% when they're running on water. 12 FPS, still beautiful FPS, as you can see, at least benchable. I mean, it's not playable, everybody understand that. But latency delay went above 90 milliseconds. Look at that. My system RAM utilization below 10,000 megabytes. And VRAM utilization is above 20 gigabytes and getting down. I'm not sure how Nvidia is managing stuff like that. This part I don't understand, guys. Look like Nvidia is capable to manage that VRAM overload even without offloading data into the system RAM, and I'm not sure how does Nvidia does it. Maybe just through the AI blocks, through the AI computation, just studying the pixels and repeating those pixels when it's needed, and that's why it's utilizing less VRAM and doesn't lose a lot of FPS. And it's only possible on this on Turing GPU architecture when it's waking up. I call it like waking up from the overloads. It was possible on RTX 2080 Ti's, and it's possible on Turing GPU architecture such as Titan RTXs. And I'm not sure how Nvidia does it. This is I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. But look how low my system RAM utilization. It should, like, my system RAM utilization right now should go like at least to 13,000 megabytes, but it's not. Let me speed up and crash, and let's go ahead and have a look. At the crash, we're going to overload a lot of VRAM, and we're going to find out how much VRAM is utilized throughout the gameplay, because you know, crash is part of the gameplay anyways, right? Look how beautiful everything. This is maximum possible visuals with the shadows at low, but as again, it doesn't matter if shadows low or high, it's not going to tax that our performance anyways. For Turing GPU architecture, shadows low or high or ultra, it's just like nothing, not even 1 FPS. Alright, let's go ahead and crash, high speed crash, and let's see the system RAM utilization. And we're going to find out how much VRAM actually is utilized. So pretty much, guys, 16K resolution, I assume 48 gigabytes will be good to go. And then after 48 gigabytes of VRAM, we're going to be bottlenecking by our GPU computing performance. But if, here we go. Hopefully we're not going to crash the game, but here we go. 23,000 of megabytes of system RAM utilization. 23, so 24,000 system RAM utilization I just saw a couple seconds ago. That means that -9, about 11 gigabytes of VRAM was utilized above of our VRAM utilization. That means that we are utilizing about 40 gigabytes of VRAM. If you're going to add that type of value to our VRAM utilization that we see right now, which is above 23,000 megabytes, which is 23 gigabytes, So you're almost utilizing all of our VRAM on Titan RTX video card. This is insane, guys. Check it out. Let me do it again. Even above 25,000 megabytes on the system RAM. Check it out. So I would say we just offloaded around wow, around 17 gigabytes of the data was offloaded. 17 gigabytes of the data. Look at these details, guys. I wanna show you how beautiful this game looks like. Let's go ahead and park here, and I'm going to zoom in and zoom out real quick. This is where I took the screenshot for the 8K resolution for Titan X Maxwell GPU architecture in Nvidia 4 Li screenshot on that YouTube thumbnail. But let me real quick go ahead and bring the zoom tool. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Okay, look, all of this pixels such as gradient and details on the asphalt, you're not gonna see it in 4K resolution at that distance. You just not, believe me or not, but you're not gonna see it. It's not going to render it for you because your display is not going to support that enough pixels. Look how beautiful it is. This is maximum possible visuals, guys, in this game at 800% zoom. 800% zoom. This is for those people who was asking for the screenshots. You don't need no screenshots. I'm smarter than the screenshots. You wanna be smarter than the screenshots, alright? That name Lamborghini at 4K resolution, you're not gonna see at all. Believe me. Wow. The level of details is just wow. See, like there is a gradient right there in the flower. You're not gonna see it as well. Yeah, this is just unbelievable, guys. Just unbelievable. I mean, you cannot go better than this. See, like those details, like bumps and stuff, you're not gonna see at this distance in 4K resolution. It's just not going to render, because see that that logo Lamborghini. If you're gonna play 1080p, that logo on the Lamborghini will be about 64 by 64 pixels. So the whole world of Lamborghini is it's not going to be enough pixels to be able to render that font size. Hopefully this makes sense, guys. And that car at 4K resolution will be around maybe 756 pixels by 512 pixels if you're gonna play it in 4K resolution, or probably like 900 pixels by 700 pixels. And that means that you're not gonna load all those textures, because those pixels will be blurred out. Okay, hopefully guys this makes sense. Yeah, this is just wow. So we're gonna go ahead and enable the shadows at ultra, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I guess I'm just going to real quick show you what's up about my system while showing you CPU Z a little bit, GPU Z, IDA 64 benchmarks. Titan RTX, as you can see, guys, maximum overclock on air. It's running dual fan design, Nvidia stock cooler, and I'm also using the Nvidia thermal compound paste. So I'm not using the liquid metal thermal compound paste on this Titan RTX. Those two Titan RTXs will be in my gaming rig with the liquid metal thermal compound paste. This is just a regular Nvidia thermal compound paste. If you're going to use liquid metal thermal compound paste, you're going to lower it by about 3 Celsius on your GPU temperature. So we're kind of idling right now at 20,000 megabytes VRAM utilization, but as again, it's a fake-ish VRAM utilization. The real VRAM utilization will be 42 gigabytes, as you saw based on my system RAM utilization after the crashes. And I know it's not all the time during the gameplay, but if you're gonna crash, this is how your VRAM utilization will be. And if you don't want any of those freeze outs, any of those lags outs for a couple seconds, if you're playing multiplayer online against the players online, it's probably going to be a hassle for you, and it's going to be like no go for you. But to be able to get rid of that, you probably want to have 48 gigabytes of VRAM. And I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be 48 gigabytes of VRAM utilization at 16K resolution total. Because right now we are 32 megapixels less than 16K resolution. Because 16K resolution is 133 megapixels, and right now we're running 100 megapixels in real time. Alright, I'm gonna speed up and I'm gonna crash. Let's go ahead and look, sorry. Here we go. Check out at the right top corner my system RAM utilization, so we can calculate how much VRAM is utilized. Look at this, system RAM utilization is higher than VRAM utilization. 25, so 26,000 megabytes of our system RAM utilization. I would say minus 12 or minus 10 gigabytes. So I would say that 27, so 28 gigabytes. It was 28 gigabytes of system RAM utilization. The total system RAM utilization can go all the way to 32 gigabytes or 32,000. This is what's installed on my motherboard right now. 4 sticks of 8 gigabytes of DDR3 in quad channel, which is 256-bit with a high bitrate data transfer, which is 40,000 megabytes per second, but it's still not enough. And it's running at 14,000 megahertz. 14,000 megahertz on our DDR3 on this motherboard, while our DDR6 is running 16,000 megahertz. So that one is running 1400 megahertz, and DDR6 on our video card on Titan RTX running 16,000 megahertz, which is 16 times more, 15 times at least more. That means that if you're uploading some data into the system RAM, it's going to be 15 times slower whatever you're going to see the data when you're going to access the data in real time. At least 14,000 slower than the native GDR6 VRAM access on the Titan RTX. Hopefully guys this makes sense. Beautiful visuals. Of course not playable, but beautiful. So who knows, maybe 2 Titan RTXs and SLI I'm going to show it to you guys in a couple days over the UHDking.com or over the iPlay16k.com YouTube channel. Maybe our FPS will be above 20 FPS. This is how I'm predicting. It should be above 20 FPS average, 20- above 20 FPS average. And if this will be the case, then we are going to be Gucci. This is going to be playable status, because right now it's not even playable status, as you can see almost screenshots. As again, please watch this video in 8K resolution, switch in your YouTube player to 4220p or 8K, because I'm recording 8K resolution guys for you. Beauty. So pretty much to run this game comfortable while utilizing 3 8K resolution monitors or 12K resolution, if they're going to release ever this 12K resolution such as this, and some sort of screens, then you need to have at least 2 times more GPU computing power, okay, if you want to have kind of playable status, and 48 gigabytes of VRAM. 36 gigabytes is not enough guys, even at 12K resolution. That means that 16K resolution in this game, 36 gigabytes of VRAM is not going to be enough. So I would assume, guys, if you want to play without any lag, without any issue, without any VRAM offloading data into the system RAM in a game that was released before 2020, you must have 48 gigabytes of VRAM. And I believe that when PC gaming will be dead, it's going to be in 2025/2027. Nvidia will release 64 gigabyte of VRAM for the gamers. And also first 16K resolution monitors or TVs or screens will be introduced in the beginning of 2025 based on my prediction, and will be kind of known for the PC enthusiasts. That will be kind of affordable, like today, around like $5,000 price tag per screen in 2027. And during that time, I'm assuming that we're going to have 64 gigabyte of VRAM. So does this make sense? Alright, let me crash for the last time, and that's it. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to do a high-speed crash. Here we go. Look at this level of details. And a lot of people creating movies using this Need for Speed 2015, and at this type of resolution, or at 16K resolution, is going to be like a dream. So our CPU utilization was healthy, but as again, I couldn't run it on 4 cores. As you saw, based on our CPU utilization, we were like around 35-40% sometimes, so pretty sure at least you have 6 cores, 6 threads to be able to run this game at 12K resolution. The higher resolution, the less CPU cores you need. Keep that in mind. And but still at 12K resolution, I would say you need to have at least 6 core CPU to have the healthy FPS without any CPU cores bottlenecking. Okay, and of course the higher frequency on CPUs, the higher FPS will be, and the newer CPU generation, of course, also faster FPS. Pretty much this CPU is equal to 4 gen Intel Core i CPUs, and my i9-9900K is 9 gen, so 5 gen advanced versus this one, so versus this Xeon E5-2697 E2. That means each new generation is as minimum 3% faster clock per clock. So 5 more gens, it's 15% clock per clock, plus that CPU is running 5.3 gigahertz versus this one 3.2, so it's running 1.1 gigahertz higher than this CPU. That I would say we will at least receive 15% healthy FPS when I'm going to test the same presets and the same video card on the i9-9900K will clock at 5.3 gigahertz, but we're going to find out. This is my theory, but my theory based on mathematical approaches and algorithms, guys, based on my experience. So I would say at least 15%, but I'm assuming around 18-20% of the FPS. 18%-20% of the FPS boost will be on the i9-9900K will clock at 5.3 gigahertz. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. Alright, that's pretty much it. As again, for those naysayers, this video will go, guys, unedited. For those naysayers, this was my preset, maximum possible, as you can see, visuals. And one more thing before I'm going to wrap it up, let's go ahead and try the motion blur, and that's it. Okay, it's floating some data, look like, and here we go through the garbage collector. The game is still beautiful, guys, in 2021. This is the technologies, guys, that I'm testing right now, was available to us in 2019, keep that in mind. So Ampere GPU architecture, okay, this is the garbage collector cleaning something. Here we go. Look at this, with the motion blur now it becomes even more photorealistic, to be honest with you. Even at this low FPS, but just because so much pixels rendered in real time, 100 megapixels rendered in real time. With the motion blur, you see those details into your face, and even with this blur pixels, they're still so sharp. The level of details with the motion blur on another level when you compare motion blur to 1080p. Jesus, this game, 16K resolution with the motion blur, going to be just like in real life almost experience. If you're going to pick out the color grading here, why not? Check it out. I put the motion blur to show you the crashes and to show you the VRAM utilization, just to see if it's going to create a higher VRAM utilization and higher system RAM utilization. But we saw as maximum, we saw almost 28,000 megabytes on our system RAM utilization during the offloading the data from the VRAM. So pretty much let me crash it. Let me speed up and crash it big time. Go ahead and do it. Here we go. Can we see 28,000 megabytes of system RAM utilization? I'm just curious. So 28,000 was the highest value, guys. That means that we're above 40 gigabytes of VRAM utilization. Alright, enough is enough. That's it. Really, like, look at this, 26,000 megabytes of our system RAM in a second. Above 26,000 megabytes. That's just for this level of details in this game. Wow. Really like the way they did it. How you can crash your car, you can completely crash it out. Alright guys, that's enough. So let's go ahead and quit the game. And sure, yeah, we want to quit it. It's not quitting. Come on, quit the game. Look how small my mouse cursor right here. See that? Is again, when you testing something in windowed mode, you want to set your desktop resolution to that resolution, and you want to make sure that you have a scale under the 100% as well for the best possible FPS without any complications, because some games doesn't utilize that 100% scaling. If you're going to run like 500% scaling, where everything will be so big, well, some games doesn't show the proper FPS when you're using the Nvidia DSR. So as again, I was using today Nvidia DSR method. I do not trust any third-party DSR methods, because what I find out, like get a SATA and stuff like that, third-party like SweetFX, third-party DSR methods are not utilizing, not showing the resolution right. It's not mimicking, not emulating the resolution right, because it's not showing the VRAM utilization right, or it's not showing the FPS right. And Nvidia is pretty much producing this video cards. It knows exactly how to emulate the proper resolution, because Nvidia can emulate any kind of resolution before it's going to send the signal to the port where you connected your screen. Okay, hopefully guys this makes sense. So I'm assuming plus minus 2 FPS versus the real 12,960 pixels by 7,680 pixels if we would be running it for real, like if we will have the real display like that. But as again, today I was running the 8K resolution native screen plus DSR, and pretty much I was emulating the 3 8K resolution monitors running in vertical mode. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So if I'm going to switch to 500 recommended, where everything will be, let me go ahead and do it, so I can disable the zoom like that, when everything will be kind of nice. This is our CPU utilization, as you can see, and CPU utilization was excellent throughout the game. So 12 core was more than enough for this game to have the healthy FPS without any CPU cores bottlenecking. As again, when you bottlenecking by your CPU, you only bottlenecking by your CPU cores, and of course higher frequency will give you higher FPS, but there is no other CPU bottlenecking like those naysayers saying. They're just making it up. So by the way, this is on the background my system right here. This is my system. This is how it's cool with the Corsair H100i. Pro RGB XT cooler. I believe it's 3rd gen. I own the 1st gen. I skip on 2nd gen. This is the 3rd gen. Beautiful cooler, by the way. Single Titan RTX on this motherboard. Gigabyte X79 UD3, which is ultra durable, version 1.1. And this is, guys, my gaming rig from 2019-2021, which is i9-9900K, overclock at 5.3 GHz, water cooled with the Corsair H150i Pro cooler, okay, with 2 Titan RTXs and big 240mm cooler master fan on top of it. But it's still thermal throttling. It's not enough. You gotta, when you're running SLI, no matter what kind of video cards, you want to make sure that the first GPU, first video card closest to the CPU, this one right here, is always water cooled. And you can water cool it with the get a water cooler for $200 or kind of custom loop. But do something about it. The secondary can be on air, but the first one should be on the water. The secondary will be always chilling at 50 Celsius, maximum 55, even on air. Keep that in mind. So do not waste your money on a second video card. Put it in water if you're on a low budget. And this is, guys, pretty much this video was for the low budget PC builders that trying to build all-in-one system, or for those folks who's curious how the workstation can run PC games. But this is my workstation from 2020. As again, I'm going to retire this workstation. I'm about to build a new workstation in 2021. 2 Xeon E5-2697 V3 CPU on a Chinese motherboard. Hopefully I'm going to hack the BIOS, and from 2.3 gigahertz on those 72 virtual cores or 72 threads on those 2 CPUs. I'm going to clock it to 3.4 gigahertz while doing some 3D rendering or video encoding, like 8K resolution transcoding, while playing games at 3.5/3.6 gigahertz per each core, which total 72 virtual cores. Going to be amazing. Anyways, guys, this is how my MS Afterburner was running. This is the CPU Z, as you can see, 3.2, almost 3.2 gigahertz per each core. On stock, the CPU is running 3 gigahertz or 3000 megahertz per each core. So I cheated and I boosted up to 200 megahertz additional, no matter what kind of scenario you're running. How I achieved that? Pretty much BCLK bus speed frequency at stock by Intel, designed to run 100 megahertz, and I overclock it to additionally by 6 megahertz, so 106 megahertz, so times multiplier times 30 will give us 3200 megahertz. 12 core, 12 threads. No matter what kind of scenario you're running, how many cores you're running, you always will be 200 megahertz faster if you're going to overclock your BCLK frequency. And the best way to do it, you need to have the gaming overclocking motherboard. Any motherboard, gaming motherboard, will be able to do that. Keep that in mind. So motherboard is, again, as I told you, Gigabyte X79 UD3, but this is version 1.1. They have two different versions, version 1.0 and version 1.1. This is with F20 BIOS, available from Gigabyte website. The last Gigabyte website from the March 19, 2014, the last BIOS, F20. Only this BIOS is allowed to post this CPU on this motherboard. Otherwise, there is no such a BIOS that will post this particular CPU on this motherboard. Keep that in mind. The best motherboards for this CPU will be ASUS. Any ASUS on the X79 motherboard, instead of 200 megahertz additional overclock through the BCLK frequency, on some ASUS motherboard X79 you can achieve 400 megahertz and it be even maybe 1/2 FPS higher that you saw during this test today. Okay, quad channel 32 gigabytes or 32,000 megabytes of system RAM. 4 sticks running 8 gigabytes. It was Crucial Ballistics Elite, which is 1866 megahertz CL9, but unfortunately on this particular motherboard with this particular CPU, I cannot go above 1400 megahertz. Okay, it's not even posting. I was running back in 2014/2016, even /2017. From 2014 to 2017, I was running the Intel Core i7 4930K highly overclockable gaming CPU with 6 cores, and I was running at the 4.2 gigahertz stable as rock, and with this memory I was running above 2100 megahertz. Okay, but on this particular CPU, 1400 megahertz is the maximum. So 706 megahertz times 2, 1400 megahertz. CL7 though, CL7 give us additional boost in terms of our bandwidth. Keep that in mind. And right now this is a stable. I achieve it as stable possible preset for the memory and for the CPU overclock without any blue screen. It's running 24/7 for 2 weeks without any blue screen while I'm doing 8K resolution transcoding videos, loading my 24 threads completely, and not only 12 core but 24 threads. With the 12 core hyper-threading technology is enabled in the BIOS, so 24 threads or 24 virtual cores. With the 24 threads 100% load in the 3ds Max Studio throughout the 3D rendering or throughout the 8K resolution video transcoding, I'm still stable as rock. Keep that in mind, without any blue screens. And when you're running 12 cores without the hyper-threading technology, look how great this CPU is. Multi-thread ratio above 12x with 12 cores, so much better than 12x. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable, guys. Okay, 3936 core under the CPU Z through the multi-core benchmark, multi-thread benchmark, and single thread benchmark 327. My i9-9900K overclock at 5.3 GHz showing 635 double on the single thread performance. And single thread performance pretty much is very crucial when we are talking PC gaming. For workstation you need to have multi-thread, but as again I disabled the hyper-threading technology, otherwise I would be much higher in terms of my multi-thread performance in terms of that value. Hopefully guys this makes sense. Okay, let me show you how the i9-9900K, let me show you some CPUs before I'm going to wrap it up. Keep your eye, press pause. I'm about to wrap up with this video, guys. Let me real quick show you some more information for those folks who's curious about this CPU, because you gotta think outside of the box, and my videos bringing multi-angle value to the gamers, PC builders, 3D artists, and all kind of different folks out there, PC overclockers. So that's why guys my videos are not short, they're kind of longer, but I'm covering a lot of data, a lot of information. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So IDA 64 cache memory benchmark, here we go. Read value above 40,000 megabytes, nice. Write value, copy value. But if I'm going to enable the hyper-threading technology, the read, write, and copy will go a little bit higher than that, including the level 1 cache will go a little bit higher than that, but latency will be unchanged. So when I'm running the 1130 megahertz on my DDR3 in quad channel with 12 core 24 threads, my latency delay is 102 nanoseconds. Right now is 85 nanoseconds. The lower value in terms of nanoseconds, the better. So we pretty much decreased by 15 nanoseconds latency delay, which is amazing. Okay, on my i9-9900K overclock at 5.3 GHz, my latency delay, guys, is 42 nanoseconds, and when it's overclocked 5.4 GHz, it's 39 nanoseconds. Keep that in mind. This is unbelievable. All right, beautiful, guys. And this is the IDA 64 GPU benchmark when it's running the OpenCL API, so we can benchmark the CPU and GPU. But as again, CPU with hyper-threading technology, when additional 12 virtual cores are enabled. Right now they're disabled because hyper-threading technology is disabled in the BIOS, will be higher than this right now. But anyways, it's no match to GPU, because any GPU is about 5-6 times faster than CPU. Okay, but Titan RTX GPU was running completely overclocked, like at this overclock during this benchmark, and all those benchmarks was done without the shadow play recording. Keep that in mind, guys. Okay, so that's it. I covered everything what you need to know. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and don't forget to smash that like button. And yeah, I'm putting right now great videos for you. Subscribe. A lot of time, money, energy was invested. Smash that like button, positive comments, share it with your friends, guys, and I will see you till the next videos. Stay safe. Have a great day.